how's it going, everybody? It's Shink. I'm here to bring you another Acolyte review. This time, episode 7. So just before the end of the season premiere, we have ourselves a very weird episode, right? I'm not even gonna play it. It's just ridiculous on the fact that we have this many episodes into it, and hold up, let me show Shrouded. Anyways, let me make sure we show off the fact that this episode is very redonkulous and how some of these things play out. For one, we have the fact that the Jedi are basically the villains in this entire story, right? It doesn't matter how you felt about the prequels or the original trilogy where the Jedi were seen as the good guys in this environment setting and stuff like that, right? In this setting that they have set for Disney Star Wars, right? Everybody is set as the bad guy as far as the Jedi are concerned, right? Hold up, let me put my tooth in. Boom. Now we got ourselves our full row of teeth. Please joke on that in the comments if you want. But one of the things I want to mainly take apart is this. From episode 3, because I have all our stuff written down for episode 3. Alright, just adding this extra bit in so a little bit more context, right? So, all I'm trying to get across is how come the Jedi, with all the advanced technology they have and everything that they have going for them as far as drones, force sensitivity, and other things like that, how come they were not able to detect this Coven of Witches base sooner, right? And then obviously the intrinsic fact that they just so happened to stumble upon the tree that May and Asha were, playing around, or, more so, Asha was hiding and then May found it, right? So, like, let's try and make this a nice little logwood house, build it together, and figure out what the fuck was going on, right? Let's listen into Critical Drinker and other people, Star Wars Theory, Baggage Claim, and Mahler, on how they're better to explain what I'm trying to get across on how, for whatever reason, they ended up falling onto the path of, hey, we've been here for 7 weeks and haven't found a life form, but then all of a sudden, blah blah blah, this happens and Soul finds them just boom, instantaneously. Like, what the fuck? Okay, so sorry for all the interruptions, but let's continue on our quest to understand what the Acolyte has done and why they can't just figure out that there are life forms on this island, or sorry, planet, my bad.
It's literally just a planet where there was a big disaster like 100 years ago, and it should be barren of life, but it's like a thriving
virgins, right?
Yeah, so they reckon there's a virgins there, or it could just be an ecosystem that recovered. Who knows? But like, your solution is that you have to scan methodically.
How do they miss the building?
Planet. Yeah. Just deploy a shit ton of probe droids, let them do their work, and if they find something interesting, then they can signal you, and then you send people there, like Jedis and stuff. Why would you send a squad of Jedi, the most elite warriors in the galaxy, to do such a mundane task? It's absurd.
Do you remember when we discussed episode 3, we were talking about how weird it was and how brazen Trinity's lie was, where she's like, yeah, we didn't know anybody was here. Turns out they didn't know anybody was there. I was like, how is that possible? That building is like, how did you miss that?
Even if you can't see it with your eyes, which is absurd anyway, like, it's got a power generator in it. It's got lights, it's got scanners, it's got like all kinds of like
concentration of life forms.
Oh yeah, concentration of life forms. All the kind of things that would show up in a cursory scan. Like, this is what you do in Star Wars. You can just scan a planet and it'll tell you if there's life forms, if there's technology, cities, whatever, really quickly. Easy.
Right.
And then made even worse, Soul bumps into it, going in 4 random directions on a planet, and he bumps into 2. So annoying.
And like, what I want to bring into perspective is that, like he said, this is a whole planet, possibly the size of Earth, if not bigger, just stumbling upon one life-giving settlement that has the ability of the Force, right? Of the virgins, and like how some other people kind of make fun of like the fact that Soul can't really say the word right. It almost sounds like virgins. The virgins, right? It sounds like he's saying virgins, not virgins. My God. Okay, it's ridiculous at this point to have to reiterate certain statements accolades or whatever the fuck you want to call it, of how they're not able to figure out this stuff, right? Because clearly the Force, as shown in the prequels and even in the original trilogy, they had the ability to sense other life forms, other Force users, and their intentions, their mindset, and what they were doing and how they would act, right? There's a reason why Qui-Gon stuck around with Anakin to be able to understand him. Like, he didn't think immediately, oh, this is the chosen one. No, he was around there for quite a bit of time on Tatooine to understand, oh snap, this guy has the Force, because he's able to do things that no normal human, quote unquote, personnel would be able to do with the whole pod racing and stuff like that, right? Like, he had a keen attunement to the Force. Stuff like that, right? So let's keep on going.
Yeah, like, don't they have like thermal scanners where they could scan the planet and be like, oh, there's a whole shitload of witches over there. That, like one
you could probably
place.
I mean, the script could have accounted for this relatively easy, just by saying there's ion storms or something crazy, like, and we can't scan the planet properly, so we're gonna have to go down there manually and do it ourselves. Like, okay, it's goofy and it's pretty contrived, but it's something. It's an explanation for why this stuff doesn't show up. But the writers didn't even think of that. They didn't care, because none of it matters to them. Like, all this stuff is just not thinking about it at all.
Yeah, and coming back to Torben's lack of backstory, I mean, the show is really missing meat. It has barely any story to cover anyway. That's why they're rehashing things. You could have used character development to help make this meteor.
I love this as well. It's got flammable rock as well. That would have come up on a hazard scan.
Oh man, this is such fascinating to compare to episode 3's coverage. A lot of people were saying, you know, May, she got mind controlled more than likely, and the fire wasn't what we thought. We think it's what it is, but it's not what we thought. She wasn't mind controlled, and the fire was exactly a stone fire. That's what it was.
Well, and then she tries to put out the journal, and then she's like, "Oh shit, it's on fire!" She's like trying to put it out.
She's like, "Oh my god, the thing I set, the thing I set on fire is now on fire. Oh no! Oh my god, I predicted this."
Then she stomps on it, and it's like, "Mama!"
What was Horn Lady intending to do when she said "get angry"? What did she want May to do?
That's my secret cap. I'm always angry.
I don't know, it's like saying to a young child, you know, get angry and put yourself in dangerous situations when there's armed Jedi everywhere. Like, that just seems like a pretty bad mother decision.
And so what I want to point out here is that, like they said, the fact that May was told specifically, get angry, right? A attribute that is keenly focused on the dark side, to be a bad thing for the Jedi, right? When you're succumbing to your emotions, Mother Coral says, go ahead, get mad, stop your sister from leaving, basically. All hell breaks loose, because once she ignites the goddamn journal, the little art journal that she was making for herself, Asha, May takes that, burns it, and then just like, oh my god, it's on fire, and then just throws it or whatever. And then also throws the goddamn lantern that sets the whole place on fire. Stone, might at you. Stone was set on fire, not by oil, not by some combustible element, right? It's just starting to ignite. And the whole thing of stone, the fortress of stone, blows up because of May, right? And even though they try to, in first, episode 3, insinuate she was doing it in a very malicious manner, then you have this episode showing that, oh, she didn't mean to really set it on fire. It just got out of hand, and then so she ended up setting the whole place on fire on accident. That doesn't make up for the fact that she burnt her whole coven, right? Whether the fact, like, we'll get into later where, you know, Indara basically kills all the witches because 1, and then 2, and then all of many, stuff like that, right? It just, oh my god, just stop this at this point, please. Was when the coven of witches are singing and doing their ascension ritual, they're singing the power of 1, the power of 2, the power of many, right? Okay, so we have that whole debacle going down. And then we'll skip all the way to episode 7 of this goddamn Forsaken list. So, episode 7 is basically a different perspective of episode 3, where many people were very upset about episode 3 because just like it broke canon, it broke lore, it broke so many things about Star Wars that make it Star Wars. Because, oh, guess what? I'm going to play another clip from here later on about Leslie Headland and her goddamn bullshit. But, anyways, we get into it. I won't be showing that many clips because I'm not protected like that. But episode 7, now from the Jedi side, Wookiee uses a metal detector to look for the Force. Another thing to point out is that it's been 7 weeks that they've been on this planet, right? And the fact that Torben is the one who points us out when they're at their little campfire thing. How hard is it to find a settlement where they have blasting lights, fire, and other resources burning across the whole of the planet, and this is the only spot where that stuff is happening, right? You got yourself a little speck of data to be pointed out every single fucking day and night. But when it comes to this show, no, that's not important enough. Unwise to dislike the Wookiee's cooking, says Indara, because Torben says, I'm not that hungry. Look, do you know how he's feeling? Do you know how his depression or anxiety might be acting upon him since the fact that they've been here for 7 weeks? And he's just like, you know what? Ooh, I'm just not feeling the best that I've ever felt, right? And Indara is just like, it's not wise to dislike a Wookiee's cooking. Okay, so what? What if he doesn't want to eat? He'll eat in the morning. Like, Jesus Christ. Anyways, continuing from that point on, apparently also in that same little scene, Brendok had a hyperspace accident and should be lifeless, said Indara. Right. So again, very convenient, and again, convenient on the fact of the writers that this is even an incident at all. Right. How come this even became such a big ordeal in the first place? How would they even know what was going on, this and that, right? But it just ended up being the fact that there was a hyperspace accident, so there shouldn't be any life forms on this planet. What? Like the fact, like General Holdo, or whatever her fucking name was, the goddamn purple-haired lady from the last... Was it the Last Jedi? I think it was the Last Jedi, where she fucking rammed her goddamn ship into the New Order. Is that what caused lifelessness on this planet? Seems a bit obscure, but just okay. They also talk about, well, for one, you notice how Torben is being a pouty white dude because he just wants to go home. I'm tired of this place. I just want to get back to my safe space. And then they also talk about a virgins, and when you hear about this, you almost hear like Master Soul sounding like he's saying virgins. The virgins. Do you say virgins or virgins? Please be a little bit more explanatory and articulate when you speak, because I understand he's a Korean speaker, but a lot of people cannot understand what the fuck he's saying. Brendok was lifeless for 100 years now, and then also Indara says to Soul that much that you feel, and that's why about the fact that Indara has a Padawan and then he doesn't. He basically says, look, I understand you have a lot of feelings and you're trying to put it onto me, but just because you feel this way, that's the reason why I have a Padawan and you don't, right? Because you put your feelings onto other people. Okay, calm the fuck down. It's not how it is for everybody. Continuing on, Soul finds the tree that Asha and May were at on a whole goddamn planet, right? A whole planet. All of a sudden, Soul stumbles upon the tree that Soul and May are on. Very conveniently. Continuing on, he's spying from the whole scene of Asha and May's training. And before that point, he ends up getting to the little entrance where it's kind of like blocked by a goddamn gate. Guess what? It's a maybe a 70 degree angle where he's able to scale up the mountain still. So what does he do? He scales up the mountain. Say hello. There you go. You got my little baby there saying hello. Okay. There you go. From there we continue on where they're repurposing scenes from a different angle. Soul follows the twins and climbs the wall, spying on the scene of Asha and May training. He ends up making a noise, which we end up hearing in episode 3, and so this ends up being part of episode 7. Banana, I understand. Banana. I know, huh? And then after that, Soul follows the twins, climbs the wall, spying. Oh, sorry. What is that? There you go. Thank you. Spying on the scene of Asha and Mame. Soul then ends up going back to Indara, Kilnaka, and Padawan Torben, and telling what happened. Soul says a cult of witches, basically, kind of similar to the Night Sisters, but not quite as likely as them. Has 50 witches and whatchamacallit, 2 children, which they end up discussing on how, well, the Night Sisters never were able to actually have any kids or adolescents in their presence. So it's a little bit weird, right? So the fact that these people have 2 younglings in their possession is a little bit odd. From there on, we have Soul mentions that they don't treat the girl right, and that they don't have time to notify the council, even though Master Indara is like very much like, no, we're gonna notify the council, right? Over 50 women, 2 children, like I said. The Jedi break in via, Soul. The space witches got bows at the ready, and repeat of a scene of we already saw, where from episode 3, you got the Jedi entering, and they're approaching the witches about to do the ascension ritual. And then from there we got Mother NSA inside, basically raping Padawan Torben's mind, messing with him like a genjutsu, like I wanted to point out, because for me, the way that the Covenant Witches basically mess with people's head is like a genjutsu. And then from there, she's basically just taunting him and like alluring him to the point of like, hey, I know you want to go home. Tell me what your deepest desire is. And Padawan Torben is basically just saying, I want to go home. I just want to go home. I just want to go home. Okay. You want to go home? Fine. And then, then he gets on his knees and all that other stuff, right? So Mother Anastasia tempts Torben into doing what he wants. Torben wants to go home to Corazon. Torben got a talking to after said incident from Indara. And then after that, okay. Indara wants to hear from the council first while they have the time. Soul wants to test them, but Indara doesn't take it seriously since Asha is too old, apparently. Even though we had like characters like Anakin Skywalker, which are not old enough. Continuing on, Soul feels she's meant to be her Padawan. So again, you kind of have this weird predatory sense of like Master Soul putting on his feelings for Asha when he's barely even known her that long, right? Yummy? Good job. And Soul feels she's meant to be her Padawan. It's just like, okay, you haven't known her as long as how Qui-Gon Jinn was able to get to know Master Luke, right? Because in that time, Luke and Qui-Gon, he was able to observe his pod racing and other things that brought him to be like, oh, this is the chosen one. No normal human, right, could do the things that he's doing without said intervention by the Force. Continuing on, Soul feels like, the Jedi are acting like CPS, and also, they don't act like it's what she wants. Indara says, don't act like it's what she wants, because what you feel, basically says Indara to Soul. What is it? Yeah. And then we got Master Torben meditating just after that whole incident. Torben takes a blood sample from May, says it's not gonna hurt. It does hurt. May fakes the test. Indara asks May what they were doing. She says it's an ascension. Also, no. Hold up. My goddamn bladder. Anyways, let's see where I'm at. Okay, so after this point, we got Indara asks May what they were doing and says that Ascension, also how could, she's basically asking how does this, like, what were they doing in that whole little ritual? May ends up explaining what the whole thing of ascension is, and that how after that point they would be able to become the leaders of the cult. And even Indara asks, how can you kids be leaders? And May's just kind of like, I don't know. It's just, shrugs her shoulders, right? Again, and we get to understand how they would sacrifice themselves. So again, this is very much cultish behavior where, you drink the Kool-Aid and all of a sudden, you're dead. Right? Yeah. And so, whatchamacallit, after that point, May and everyone May explains how everyone walks through fear. Everyone must be sacrificed to fulfill their destiny. Sol then tells Indara that May was instructed to fail. And then after that, basically, Sol tells Indara, hey, let's try a different approach for Asha. Asha then passes the test. Indara contacts the council, basically letting know about her data that she found out. And, hold up. From there on out, something in the woods freaks out Sol. The council said no after Indara comes to Sol. Torben said that the women are dangerous because the whole virgins thing, and he wants to go home. So he's like, hey, let's get this stuff together because I want to go home, basically. Continuing on from that point. Hold up. I know. Yeah. Indara says that they won't sanction the twins to Coruscant, and that they will that they have meddled enough or interfered in this predicament. Indara, do not alter the girl's destiny because you have formed an emotional attachment, she says to Sol, which Sol denies. Sol wants the best for Asha, even though he hasn't really known her for that very long, right? The twins' symbiotes are identical, which says Torben. Even regular twins would have differences in their symbiotes. So you got that little thing to take place of. Torben also, after hearing only a virgins could cause this, begins to act on his own and tries to basically get proof of it and also rescue the twins at the same time. Blah 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 blah. So basically, they make the white dude, the scared white male, causing the whole incident. One consciousness also that he points out is that the fact that one consciousness split into two bodies, that's what Asha and May are. From there on, we get to a point where we're back in the temple. Mother Coral says to May, you want to stop Asha from leaving? Then stop her, as she throws her child and basically tells her, hey, you want to stop her? Stop her then. Go ahead. Stop your sister from leaving. The lesbian space witches basically disagree with Anastasia. May tells the witches no one can get in or out after she destroys the fucking elevator console. And Sol and Torben are going rogue after they're basically heading towards the witch coven. After that, Anastasia says we don't want violence, and Coral says she'd rather die before allowing Jedi to take her children. In this incident, May accidentally set the place on fire. Just before that incident, though, the stone is catching fire. Her mother is basically yelling, May is yelling, Mom, mother, right? And stuff. It's just like, okay, what? You're the one that your mother was telling you to get angry and do all this stuff, and you end up acting upon that anger, right? Oh my god. Hold up. Then we got Sol, which Sol came with noble intentions, and then he gets told by Mother Anastasia, someday those noble intentions will ruin the Jedi and the entire galaxy. Basically implying that she has somehow had foresight upon like Anakin, which is just like, huh? Mother Coral and Torben are about to fight. Then Anastasia turns into a Death Eater, basically. She turns all gassy like a demon. Her mouth, opening wide as hell. Eyes black, and just at that same point, you even see her consuming a little bit of, May at that point, right? And so Soul kills Anastasia, which she so happily is allowed to become solid at that point, where she allows a lightsaber to fucking take her guts out, basically. Soul allows himself to get hit from Mother Corrin. Torben is deflecting arrows at this point. Oh my god, sorry. The flammable stone is blowing up in the base. Coral turns into also another dark cloud. Coral takes over Kilnaka, which is basically with evil intent. She possessed Kilnaka. And the Jedi have to fight the Wookiee. Sloppy fighting in that point. Soul doing Matrix moves, and also the fact that Padawan Torben, I keep fucking saying Master, but even with his weakest arm, he's able to block a fucking blow with his lightsaber from Master Kilnaka. And again, Wookiees are known for their incredible strength, and the fact that he's able to deflect it all is just like, yo, you should not be able to stop this blow from hitting you. From like, oh, don't kill me, please. Right? Like, no, you're fighting a Wookiee. These people have incredible strength. Continuing on from that point, the Jedi have to fight the Wookiee. Sloppy fight, like I said. Soul doing Matrix moves, and Dara defeats the Kilnaka and takes out the Force user, the Dark Force user, and then also at that same point kills the rest of the fucking witches at the same time. They just go, oh. Soul lets May die after focusing his Force powers, and again, he's over here holding both of the metal pylons, or the metal structure that they're standing on, instead of holding the actual children, which again, a Force user should be able to be like, oh! Some 80 pounds fucking children. Then from there on, you got Soul and Dara fighting for a little bit. Soul is a little bit retarded and impulsive on the way he acts. Torben, what will tell the Jedi, or sorry, the Council. Pandora tells a lie on what happened after the whole incident is done with. Soul being impulsive as a Jedi, like I said, and then again, they want Asha to at least live her dreams, since now she has nothing. So they don't tell Asha anything of the truth, because they're like, we don't want her to go through more suffering after she's already lost her family, basically. And it's just like, well, if you guys just fucking told the truth, there would be none of this stuff. But you basically made it so much worse by the goddamn way you guys brought about this whole situation. It's just, oh my goodness. I'm just saying, episode 7 definitely ruins more of the goddamn lore between what happened, especially from episode 3, right? So it's just, all I can say is that Leslie Headland has no room to be able to talk about what is going on, this and that, because ruined it for quite a bit. So all I gotta say is they made the Jedis look like the bad guys, even though a lot of people look up to the Jedis in a lot of times of loneliness and solitude. So, ooh, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry that you felt a certain way. Your feelings were just not up to scuff. But hey, other than that, let me know what y'all think about this episode. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, follow, and we'll catch you next time. Have a good night, good morning, and good evening. A Shinigami signing out. Adios!